Hi, my name is Deborah Keene, and I'm here today to introduce Sam Creden's Tide Talk. I'm used to being proud of my students because I teach for the Blunt Initiative, which is full of amazing scholars. However, on days like today, I get a bonus. I couldn't be prouder of Sam and his work with UA Stands, and I think his work with that organization translates perfectly into the talk that he's giving today. Sam is the perfect person to talk about how to resolve a difficult or how to have a difficult conversation with productive results. When I had him in my class, I could always count on him to give thoughtful, measured responses, no matter how heated the discussion ever got. And Sam, I'm sure that Socrates is proud of you too, because it's very clear that you are after the truth and not just after winning the argument. It is my very great pleasure to introduce Sam Creden.
Let's pretend I have an idea. Let's pretend it's the most vile, reprehensible idea to ever have disgraced your presence. Let's pretend you have no idea how somebody like me could believe in such a dismal excuse for a good idea. You'll probably feel compelled to inform me exactly how misaligned, exactly how warped I am. Or you might feel compelled to refuse to engage me just because you're so outraged at this idea. Or maybe you'll just feel compelled to say something about it. Sam, you'll say, I disagree. But what would you say you disagree with? Do you disagree with me? Or do you disagree with the idea? Or maybe it's a little bit of both. You disagree with the idea, so you feel like you disagree with me. Does that sound about right? That's actually a problem with a lot of the communication that goes on around this campus. We struggle with separating the person from the idea. We turn conversations into competitions. It's kind of like a fencing match. We go back and forth, attack, counterattack, parry, riposte. Touché. I concede the point. This style of communication is called relationship-oriented communication. It means that when we're talking about an idea, we view disagreeing with the idea as the same thing as disagreeing with the person who originated it. It means that when we're talking about big ideas, our competitive spirits can get far too involved. It means that our emotions get involved. It means that our judgments are clouded. It means that feelings get hurt. And it means that good, neutral discussion is all but stamped out. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Tide Talks 5. My name is Sam Creden, and I'm here to talk to you about talking. So where do we start? First, we need to learn a little bit about relationship-oriented communication. Where it comes from, what causes it, how we can identify, expose, and diagnose it when we find it in real life. And, more importantly, we can start responding. So, we've got a relationship-oriented communication style. We've got an idea, and we disagree with it. We disagree with the idea, so we feel like we disagree with the person. And we're kind of alienating that person. What happens there? We're losing affirmation because, well, we feel disagreed with. We feel ostracized. We're losing the fourth step of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Now, what Maslow's hierarchy of needs states is that you need these bottom four levels to attain that top level. You need those bottom four levels to attain that tantalizing capstone. Now, hopefully, as college students, we probably have the first three, but we need that fourth. How can we get there? We need some affirmation first. We need to find people with like-minded ideas, and we need to associate with them. We need their respect, and we need their affirmation. So what do we do to find them? We just start sniffing them out. And if we can't find them, we'll change our minds a little bit. If we still can't find them, change our minds a little bit more. We'll keep changing our minds bit by bit until we find those like-minded people. And then, pretty soon, we can identify clusters, pockets of like-minded people popping up throughout populations. Doesn't sound too bad right now, right? Not yet. Not yet. we've got pockets of like-minded individuals, but what's happening on the other side of the issue? That's where group polarization comes in. Group polarization is a phenomenon. It's a psychological phenomenon. And it means that when we're in groups with like-minded individuals, that group will actually make decisions more extreme than any of the individuals within it. It means that when we're congregating with these like-minded individuals, we're strengthening, we're intensifying our ideas, and we're just becoming more affirmed. Still doesn't sound too bad, right? You got to remember, it's going on with people who disagree with our ideas too. So not only are we a pocket of like-minded individuals, we're an isolated pocket now. We've polarized. What does that mean? It means we've pushed away. We've pushed away from an entire group of people, even though we may not have started out so differently from them. It means we've rolled down opposite sides of a hill, even though we started out standing right next to each other at the top. So what next? We know what's going on. We kind of know what's causing it. Now we need to learn how to identify it. When we say things like, I disagree with you, that's indicative of relationship-oriented communication. When we feel ourselves getting heated in an argument, when we feel ourselves getting angry, that's probably relationship-oriented communication. So now we need to respond. Let's apply it. How can we realize that when we disagree with an idea, we can disagree with that idea without disagreeing with the person? How can we recognize that we're not ideological gladiators clashing and meeting in an arena? It's that simple, really. You just got to think about it differently. Let's take a couple of examples. I have a friend, and this friend loves Brooklyn-style pizza, even though Chicago's way better. Now, we can disagree over which style of pizza is better, but at the end of the day, we'll sit down, we'll say, hey, you know what? Cheese, meat, and a couple toppings on a baked crust, it's pretty good, no matter how it's arranged. Say you've got a girl in your philosophy class. She has a particular system of ethics. Ivory tower, way too academic for practical use, and you just can't get on board. Try offering a utilitarian compromise. Or maybe you can join the college Democrats and go talk with some college Republicans. Join the college Republicans, find some common ground with the college Democrats. Pledge a Greek letter social organization, hang out with some kids from the Mallet Assembly, vice versa. The list goes on and on and on. Find people with ideas you disagree with and talk with them. Talk with them and make sure you recognize you're not disagreeing with them, you're disagreeing with their idea. And then, maybe, instead of putting your ideas against each other in the arena, you can put them on a workbench. You can put those two ideas on a workbench, talk about them, compare them, contrast them, figure out what you like about each idea, and then, if you're feeling especially creative, take them apart. Put them back together with the parts you like the most from each. Make a new, revised idea. You're probably thinking something right now. You're probably thinking, Sam, this is all way easier said than done. And you know what? You'd probably be right. It is easier said than done. But that doesn't mean we don't have to do it. You might even be thinking, Sam, some of these ideas are just antithetical. It might even be impossible. And you know what I'd say to that? I'd say, well, sometimes I dream of as many as 6 impossible things before breakfast. And you're probably thinking, Sam, you stole that right from Through the Looking Glass. You'd be right about that too. Now, I've loved Alice in Wonderland and Through the Looking Glass since I was this tall, since before I could even read them by myself. I've loved it because I've always wanted my world to be a little bit like Wonderland. I've wanted it to be filled with amazing, unique characters. And I want those characters to be able to collaborate with each other in equally amazing and unique ways. Think about it. The Mad Hatter, Cheshire Cat, Alice herself, or even the White Queen. When Alice first meets the White Queen says something that's pretty oppositional, pretty incendiary, but Alice doesn't rise to take the bait. She says, it just won't do to start a conversation with an argument. The White Queen pretty quickly warms up to Alice. And we as readers learn why. The White Queen has a particular quality. her memory works forwards. What's that mean? It means she remembers things before they happen. It means that she remembers Alice and she are going to be good friends before it happens. It means that it's a poor sort of memory that works backwards, and only backwards. Now, I don't know about the fruitless task of trying to remember things before they happen, but I still think that there's a good lesson to be learned there. So let's try it with critical thought. We can think critically about what we can say. We can think critically about the consequences of what we do say. So let's try this. It's a poor sort of critical thought that only works backwards. Sounds a little bit more applicable, if you will. Now there's another lesson, and this lesson, still from Through the Looking Glass, comes from a particularly clever walrus. Some of you might have seen Alice in Wonderland, some of you might recognize, and this walrus orates to a particularly attentive group of oysters. The time has come, the walrus said, to talk of many things. Of shoes, of ships, of sealing wax, of cabbages and kings. But, my friends, I disagree on one minor detail. Think of such a time arriving and what that would entail. The walrus is right, after all, that such a time is here. But there's just that one minor detail that I'd like to make clear. The time to talk of many things can never come, you see, because when talking of important things, the time to talk won't leave. So let's do it. Let's stop keeping score. Let's untangle ourselves from our ideas. Let's realize that they're separate entities. Let's find some common ground with somebody whose ideas are different than ours. Let's bring these hyperpolarized groups on campus a little bit closer together. You with me? Thank you.